Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Let There Be Talk. Today is Monday, June 4th, and I am in New York City. Can't even believe it. I've already been here, 14 days, man. That's just crazy how time flies. Time flies, as we say all the time. But, man, I've been here 14 days just working my ass off. Shows every night. And, you don't even notice. I don't know. It's funny. Like some people they say, I don't even know what day it is. And some people are like, I don't know what month it is. Sometimes I don't even know what year it is. It's so absurd. It's such a blur, you know? I think that's the sign of winning in some strange way. If you have no idea where you're supposed to be unless you look at a calendar or what you're supposed to be doing in some sort of way, that's a win, you know, because you're not really tied down. I do have a schedule. I enjoy schedules. I do like to know what is coming up. Mysteries always kind of rattle my cage a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, fuck, man, when am I going to work again or whatever? But it always works out for the better or whatever. It's part of the story. I'm just rambling at the top here. It's morning time, and I'm just getting up. It's different here in New York. I tend to be out till around 2 or 3 or 4 a.m. It reminds me of when I first started doing comedy. I would do a couple spots and then go eat some diner with friends like Ian Edwards or Eric Griffin or, you know, Crystalia. We'd just be out all fucking night. And that kind of reminds me of what goes down here in New York, which is cool. It is kind of cool. You know. Anyway, I great weekend. Great thing happened to me. I did my first paid spot at the world famous Comedy Cellar in New York City. And, I can't even tell you how electric that was. Of course, I showcased back in March and, got passed, but then I've been on the road the whole time and I'm finally here in New York and digging in and going for it, working at the Cellar. And it's just, I can't even tell you how cool it is. Anyway, yeah, come see me. God, I'm kind of spaced out right now because I don't know why I try to do these fucking intros when I wake up in the morning. I'm just like, I got to get this done so I can go out and battle the day. And then I'm just like fucking blurry. But I guess it's part of the character, you know, part of the show, man. 3 minutes in, I've said nothing. I've said fucking nothing. You guys are reaching for the fast forward like, hey, let's give some love to the people that help this show and keep this show floating. I'm dedicating this entire episode to Mark Brunot, my Australian superstar. I love him. He donates to the podcast and just a fucking solid human being. Thank you, Mark Brunot. This one is for you. Also, Colton Blackstock. Cool name there. I'm Colton Blackstock. Sounds like some old-timey name on a Western. Just rolling through town. Colton Blackstock. Colton, thank you, man. If you want to donate, go to patreon.com/Dean Del Rey. Quick heads up, man. My boy Eric Griffin's got a special coming out on Showtime on the 8th, June 8th. Make sure you watch that. Very cool. He's on that show. I'm Dying Up Here, and this is his second special on Showtime. So tune into that. I love the man. We spent some time together over the weekend in New York. It was great to see him. He's just a great friend, and he's been so much help early on in my comedy career. He'd take me on the road. And, we went and saw Han Solo this weekend. Solo, which I call Sono. Han Solo, man, it was funny. Like I'm a Star Wars freak. I love Star Wars. I do not call myself a nerd. I grew up in that era where nerds was a bad word. You know, people throw it around now. They mistake it for enthusiast. If you love something, I'm not a coffee nerd. I love coffee. It doesn't make me a nerd. You know, they throw nerd on anything. It's just like, you know, it's a money making thing from the world. Like nerds are cool. Let's everything's nerd now. You know, it's like grunge back in the day. Grunge. Yeah, we're grunge. I'm a nerd. Anyway, I love Star Wars. I've always loved Star Wars. I'm fucked. I'm in for life. What am I going to do? I grew up. I saw the original in 77. Yes, I am ancient. I'm dusty, crusty, old. 77 is when that first one came out. And here I am in 2018 watching Star Wars still. Was not a fan of Solo. And when I posted that up, some people got all, what do you mean, man? But yeah, fucking relax. Doesn't mean I don't like everything about Star Wars or I didn't like this one. It felt like they were trying to do a Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, it had a goofy feel. I think Star Wars to me needs to go, you know, into an edgier, darker area like the Bond films or the Christopher Nolan Batman films. Let's get down into really the origin of the Force and the history of Yoda. That's what we need. We need to do a Yoda film. And man, don't fuck that up. But if they do a Yoda film, my head will pop off because Yoda to me is really the key to the whole thing. Let's find out about that. Solo just felt goofy. You know, it wasn't even fun goofy to me. It looked kind of shitty. There was a part of the film, it's not a spoiler alert, but where it looked like they were just doing 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. There was some octopus bullshit. I didn't even know what I was looking at. It was like those three, the Return of the Sith or whatever. What were those three after the first three? Those weren't happening. You know, but I don't know. That's just my thing. Anyway, Eric Griffin and I went to this great theater in Times Square, which I would never usually go to. It's so touristy, Times Square is. But Eric was staying up there because he was doing Caroline's all weekend. So we went to this Regal, and it was fucking Regal, man. This thing was deluxe. I want to see... I don't even like blockbuster films. Usually I don't go to that kind of stuff, but I want to go see Mission Impossible in this theater just for the ride. It's like a ride, man. This theater had these electric seats. You just press a button. You went back like full blown giant, like you're at home, like Archie Bunker, just watching the news, you know, all the way kicked back in this Barca lounge. And you had your own table that swiveled out and you were like on balconies where no one's head was in your way. And you couldn't see any fucking texting or anything. It was great. Regal on 41st Street. Shout out to you. What a great theater. Anyway, saw Solo. So I'm trying to do some more fun stuff like that to get my brain cooking in different areas. Sometimes when I work so much, you're just in this block. Your brain's just writing in this block, you know. Got to get out there and experience stuff. That's how you can write different types of material instead of having an hour about dicks, which I seem to somehow have sometimes. Here's an hour about dicks. Anyway, what else is happening? I saw my friends Pete Holmes and Judd Apatow and Keith Robinson, Artie Lang. They were filming Crashing all week over there at the stand, or not the stand, the Comedy Cellar. It was so cool that's just cool to see your friends doing TV, shooting a show right at an incredible comedy club. It was great. If you're not watching Crashing, season 1 and 2 are out right now. Check it out. Check it out. I want to give another shout out to Carson Guitarist, just because I've just been eyeballing his work lately on Instagram, and of course he makes some of the finest guitars on the planet, and I just love him. And since my guest today is a guitar player, I figure there's going to be some guitar players tuning in, and in case they've never heard of Carson Guitars, Carson Hess 81 is the Instagram, and this guy is just fucking killing it, man. He made a pink telly custom, which slab board, Brazilian rosewood, bound body, aged pink with the green guard. Oh my God. And he also made like a mint green one too. That's just killing me. I mean, this shit is killing me. This guy is on fire out there in Michigan. Check him out, Carson Hess 81. I wanted to give a shout out. It's not an ad. It's nothing like that. His shit is like art to me, man, when I look at those guitars. Somebody turned me on to a new band, and then I'm going to get into the guest who is new to me also in the last 6 months or so. But somebody turned me on, my man Fletch. Turned me on to this cool South Korean pop band, Hyuko, and I'm totally guessing on this. This is how white I am. Hyuko. It's Hyukoh, and they're South Korean, just kind of cool, kind of poppy jellyfish, good fucking stuff. And then the new Nico Case is great. The new Nico Case record is just fucking strong. I did hear I want to give a shout out to this band too. Science Fiction, Church of the Cosmic Skull. Oh my God, this fucking record. So cool. Science Fiction, Church of the Cosmic Skull. What a record this is. There's so much great music. Every week, my phone is filling up, man. Every week, it is just filling up with great shit. Upcoming shows. This week, I will be headlining one night, June 7th, at Boston, Nick's Comedy Stop in Boston, June 7th, with my boy Chase there. Please get tickets. You always say when you come in here and there, that's a giant city. I know there's at least 1,000 Del Raisers in Boston. Come out. If just a couple hundred of you come out, holy shit, that would be rad. That's one night only, this Thursday, June 7th. Also, June 27th through the 30th, I will be in Las Vegas at the Rio Hotel doing the Comedy Cellar at the Rio Hotel. Yes, the Comedy Cellar has a great club in there. It's brand new and it's just smoking. And it's almost exact to the club in New York, so that's pretty damn cool. Okay, let's get into my guest today, man. I got turned on to this band, I think about, 6 months ago, and that's how music is. This record came out in 2016. I had no idea about this band, and that's what I love about music. It doesn't matter when something comes out. Eventually, if it's good, the cream of the crop rises, and it makes their way to people, and that band ends up winning. And that's what's going on with this band right now, the Marcus King Band. This record, I've talked about this record a few times on my podcast. It absolutely blows my fucking mind. It's an incredible record. It has some of the best songwriting I've heard in a long time. It's straight soul rock, as I always call it. And of course, I love the soul rock. This record, he's got a few records out, but this one from 2016, it's got Ain't Nothing's Wrong, Rita's Gone, Self-Hatred with Derek Trucks smoking it on there. My favorite track on the record is The Man You Didn't Know, and it just, it just absolutely knocks me out. Jealous Man, this thing is just an incredible record. And they just did a new record that's coming out by the end of the year here. and they're currently out on tour all over. So go see this band. Marcus sat down with me while he was touring, playing guitar for Chris Robinson. They went out and did a 5-week run, and he sat in on the guitar position, doing a lot of the Rich Robinson stuff. The kid, yes, people like to say the kid because he's only 22, but oh my God, he is fucking great. And I was really happy to have him on. So thank you, Marcus, for doing the podcast, and thank you everyone out there that tunes in every week. I love you guys. Enjoy this episode and get his music after and spread the word. Let's keep the candles lit. All my tour dates and everything you need to know are on DeanDelRey.com. Ticket links, everything. I have the YouTube channel now under Dean Del Rey. Subscribe. All the podcasts are on there. And what else? Oh, everybody that ordered the shirts, I hope you enjoyed them. Thank you. They're out there. I love you guys. Here he is, Marcus King. All right, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Let There Be Talk. Here we are backstage, Los Angeles, at the Wheel Turn. My guest, Marcus King. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well.
Great to meet you. It's always funny to meet somebody you don't know. A lot of the guests I know. You know what I mean? So it's I don't even like to talk to them, really, until the mics are on.
Right.
Because some of the best shit when you first meet somebody happens right away.
Sure, yeah.
You know? But great to meet you, dude.
Man, it's great to meet you.
You're out here. Is your band actually opening and then you're playing with Robinson? What's going on?
No, my band, we just took a month off, and I came to do this tour. But we have a band from Oakland, Once and Future Band. Really, really dope band.
From Oakland?
Yeah.
What are they called?
Once and Future Band.
Wow. I don't know them.
Yeah, they're killing.
Wow. What style are they?
They're like really fusiony and like a lot of really crazy harmony vocals, like Yes style vocals.
Oh, wow. Some
It's
prog?
intense.
Some
Yeah.
prog shit?
It's intense.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I got to check that out, man. I thought for sure your band was opening and then you would and then play with Chris.
I think we had discussed it a little before, but we ended up going this route. I think they already had Once a Future Band in mind.
Right.
For it.
Yeah. And what is this, six weeks or something?
I think it's like 5 or 6 weeks, something like that.
How did you, were you like a Chris Robinson fan, or how did he know about you and get a hold of you to do this? Because that's, I felt like no one has really played the Mark Ford parts. Like those are such embedded, so that's a big shoes to cover, right?
Oh, man, big time. Me and Audley Freed were kind of switching parts around,
Yep.
And it's been a lot of fun because he's, hell of a guitar player. And I've always wanted to work with him. And I've always wanted to work with Andy Hess and Tony and Adam. And I've known Chris for like 2 years or something.
Yeah.
We met through Warren Haynes.
Yeah.
And then, I got a call about this and I had the time off already, and I kind of feel more home on the road anyway.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you're like 22, right?
Yeah.
It's hilarious. How long you been out on the road in your life? Like since you're what, 16, 17?
Yeah, around there.
Yeah. It's funny when somebody's young in rock and roll and they make such a big deal about it. And I think back to like when I was playing rock and roll, everybody was young.
Yeah.
The reason it's such a big deal now is because there's no people are DJing and stuff, you know what I mean? So when somebody's like 22, they're like, he's only 22. And it's like, well, back in the day, everybody was 22,
Right.
It's such a funny thing to think about. I got turned on to your band. I'm a huge, what I call it like soul rock. Like I hear your record and I think, that's exactly a band I would be in if I was in a band now, because it's just it's rock and roll, but it has like some soul, like some Black Crowes, like second record, Southern Harmony style, that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And somebody hit me with the record, and it was like incredible because I find that 95% of the time when a guitar player is amazing, they don't write good songs. You know, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's more like they're a burner. They're in their room. They play blues. You know, you know what I mean? We get what it's gonna come.
Yeah.
But when I put on your record, I was like, oh fuck, these are some songs, man.
Wow,
you know,
thanks.
The Man You Didn't Know, Rita's Gone. I was like, this guy can write some tunes, man.
Thanks.
Let's get into it. Like, what gets you into it early on? You're from South Carolina.
Yep.
So, of course, obviously, you're into Government Mule. I mean, Warren finds you or whatever. But what gets you into guitar early on?
My dad plays, and my grandfather also played.
Wow. Were they blues guys?
My grandfather was like old like truck driving country music, like George Jones.
Oh,
Earl
rad.
Haggard. He played that kind of stuff, Charlie Pride, and but he played that kind of style that was really bluesy.
Yeah.
You know? And my dad was like he was a rocker.
Oh, yeah?
Through, yeah.
What was he into? AC/DC and stuff?
Man, he was he started playing out when he like 1969, so he was all
Like Zeppelin.
Hendrix. Yeah, Zeppelin.
Sabbath?
Oh yeah,
Really?
yeah, man. He was playing that kind of stuff and like Foghat.
Foghat. Oh, how great are they? Foghat's underrated.
Yeah,
Like when you think about like, you know, Lonesome Dave and that all that stuff, Slow Ride, Fool for the City.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a time when Foghat, Pat Travers, those kinds of bands would sell out coliseums.
and it's same to be said for like Johnny Winter.
Johnny Winter would do 60,000 people.
Yeah,
I mean, he played Dan the Green in Oakland, and it was like 60,000 people. Can you imagine that? You know, like that's how rabid people were for back then, like guitar rock. And, you know, there was a lot of that stuff going on. I mean, of course you had bands like Boston and shit with hits or
Right.
Eagles, yeah. But to have a Johnny Winter
yeah,
selling tickets, I mean, those guys do like House of Blues now and stuff like that. But just to think about that.
yeah. I opened up for Johnny Winter one time when I was 15.
Wow.
And it was like a small club in Greenville, South Carolina. And just, you know, that kind of music really did get people excited. Like back in the 70s, like you said, like 60,000 people. That's just,
Yeah. 4
Awesome.
TV channels.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It was just, and also radio would play something like that.
right.
You know, they would play Foghat or Johnny Winter or Pat Travers or any of those guys back then. There was so many of them, you know, that killed it.
Right.
You know, and they're still out there playing.
Yeah.
It's just wild. So your dad, was he in a cover band or was he originals?
I was all original stuff. He had a group in the early 70s called Fresh Licks.
Fresh Looks?
The Fresh Licks, man.
From Southern California or South Carolina?
Yeah.
And did they get a deal or anything?
That band went on for a while, and then in 77 he got married to his first wife, and he joined a group that was like this songwriter pianist that played like really kind of fluffy kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he had like a rock band behind him. So he was in that group for a while, and then they got a deal. You know, it was one of them stories. The front man was all coked out and then
Oh, yeah. 70s.
fucked everybody over, you know, and then from that he had a long career playing with various other groups, and then got another deal in the 90s with a country group, and then that fell through too. But, you know, all the things he's taught me is like what not to do and what to look out for.
Yeah.
And he really always kind of told me to make my own path and not hitch my wagon to anybody, because he was always just a guitar player,
Yeah,
and
man.
he's still my favorite guitar player.
Well, that probably gets into why you become a songwriter also. Because I think the you know, if you look back at that first wave of guys after the Stevie Ray Vaughan fucking onslaught, you know, of all those dudes, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, Johnny Lang. I mean, there's numerous dudes. You know, you have to write songs at the end of the day. You can play a million licks, but where's the songs, right? I mean, each one of those guys had like one hit, like Blue on Black or Lie to Me and stuff. But you gotta be a writer first, and also, since you said don't hit your wagon, you learn to sing, which is another thing.
Yeah.
You know, because I think guitar players get tortured of write. Maybe they are writers, but then they can never find the singer they're looking for. You know?
Yeah, man. I was about 13 and just never really. I had always expressed myself through playing music, and it was just guitar. And then, you know, I had a really close friend of mine pass away, and I was, you know, I'd always hurt a lot as a kid, but never really knew how to express it. When I started singing, that was it. You know?
Who were your guys?
Otis Redding,
Of course.
big time. Wilson Pickett.
Yeah.
James Brown was a really big one for me, and Greg Allman for sure.
Greg Allman, man.
But really, the biggest ones were like Janis Joplin, and I was talking about James Dewar last night, the bass player from Robin Trower.
Oh yeah.
He sang all that stuff on like Bridge of Sighs.
Oh yeah. He was Bridge aside. That's
Soulful.
Yeah, totally soulful. Even the dude that sang for Nugent, what's his name? Who did like Just What the Doctor Ordered, and God, what's that guy's name? Fuck, I know it, but
Yeah.
he, you know, he didn't. Nuge didn't sing the stuff. You know, early on, you'd go and you go, oh, whoa, there's a singer.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, imagine being in, you know, Pat Travers or Robin Trower or any of these guys, and you had a singer, and then he leaves. It changes the whole sound of your band.
Man, it's a scary thing.
Yeah, that's why the Nudes just started singing. You know,
Yeah.
it's funny. You ever get into like Frankie Miller, guys like that?
Oh man, we were listening to Frankie Miller last night.
Oh my God, that guy, man. I mean, how great is that guy?
Dude.
Another like underrated dude. Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Singers are just amazing. Like some good ones. When a good one's out there, like you know Chris Robinson, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, man. You know, early on when I was about 12 or 13, or even really before that, I kind of saw this trend of I've heard them called Stevie Ray Vaughan clones.
Yep.
And I just found myself getting deeper into that K-hole of like just playing other people's riffs, and I didn't want to do that. So I started really just focusing on vocalists that I liked, like Aretha Franklin, and took her phrasing that she was doing vocally and applied it to guitar. And I did that with saxophone players and organ players. And as far as like chord comping, I would listen to like McCoy Tyner and Bill Evans Trio, and just tried to scrounge up all these different things that weren't guitar.
Yeah.
And apply it to the guitar and try to develop some kind of my own sound.
That's a wise move, right? I mean, thank God, or else you would just be a guitar guy.
Yeah, and then it inadvertently also really influenced my vocals because I was listening mostly to singers, you know, and not as much to guitar players.
Yeah, wise. I mean, there's a run of stuff going on right now, you know, like St. Paul and the Broken Bones, Alabama Shakes, you know what I mean? Lake Street Dive with incredible singers, you know, that aren't, you know, I think we went through such a bummer. People mistake great singing for vocal acrobats because of shows like The Voice and this bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they think that, like, if they can do these Christina Aguilera like acrobats, it's like you're not saying anything.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Yeah, it's kind of a. Yeah, I can't get into it.
Yeah, it's funny because when I heard the record, I didn't know what you looked like or your age or anything, and then I dig right in, and I'm like, oh wow, this guy gets it, man. You know, when you start singing. Well, first of all, when you start playing guitar, what was your first guitar?
My first guitar was a miniature Les Paul.
A miniature?
Miniature Les Paul.
Like 3/4 scale?
Yeah. It was about this big.
Yeah.
I still have it.
You do?
Yeah.
Wow, you must not do drugs. I don't have my first guitar. That's for damn sure. Some coke dealer has it somewhere up north.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. And what'd your dad play?
My dad always played Gibsons, and my grandfather played a Gibson his whole life. Hell, like my great uncles played Gibson banjos, you know. So Gibson was always pretty associated with the King family, I guess. And
Yes.
then
So you Gibson. So you immediately you're going Gibson. You're not going to go
Yeah.
Fender.
Nah.
You know?
I mean, I play a Telly now just because I love a Telly.
I love the Blackguard Telly.
Yeah.
I had Kenny Vaughan on, who I think is one of the best guitar players of all time. And, I think the Blackguard Esquire is the finest guitar ever made.
Man, Esquire.
There's nothing like it.
We were just doing our record that we just finished it. We were working with Dave Cobb in
Oh,
Nashville.
God, man. Dave Cobb is he's just doing everyone, right? It's
Man,
great.
he's
I
doing
just had Wheeler Walker on.
Yeah.
Of course, he's doing the Rival Sons.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you guys, Sturgill, right?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
He did that.
He's the new Rick
Stapleton
Rubin.
stuff. He's on it.
Yeah.
He is on it, and he's a great producer. And he had a few Esquires that I was able to play on the record, and then that's when I caught the Telly bug.
Yeah.
But I still always have my Les Pauls and my 345 with me.
Yeah, that's fun. What about your amp? What amp?
On this front, I needed like more,
Dirt.
beef. So I usually play a Fender Super.
Super Reverb?
Yeah, Super Reverb. It's a blackface that my dad gave me and when I was a kid. Or I just kind of started using it and then it became mine. You know how that goes. And then I use Homestead amps for this gig.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Homestead amps.
Was that dude in Marin?
He's actually out of Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
So he's
Homestead.
Yeah. They're killer amps.
Wow. What is it? Like a Marshall setup kind of?
Well, it's like a Marshall, but it's like a Marshall and a Super had a baby. As far as like everything I love about both of those amps, they just sound incredible.
Wow.
It's got 6L6s in the head, so it's like a Super, but I got two 15s in one cabinet.
Two 15s?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Which I hated 15s.
Yeah, right?
forever,
They never break up.
But these do somehow.
That's
Just
weird.
really torturing the speaker. And that particular amp, I have it dry, and then next to it I have two 12s and a 120 watt head.
Whoa, 120 watt head.
Yeah, with reverb.
I haven't even heard that in a long time. 120 watt, like a Super Marshall 200 watt Hendrix style.
It has those, what do they call those tubes? It's like the father of the 6L6s. It's like a huge version of that.
Oh yeah, like the big bubble looking ones?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's got those in it.
Are you diamond? Is that thing turned up?
Yeah, it's got master volume on it too. Because that was the thing, my whole tone that I was getting for a long time was just a tube screamer on top of the amp.
Oh yeah.
And then plug it in and crank the Super and turn the volume down.
Yeah.
When we were playing small clubs, I couldn't just...
Yeah, you can't
convert
blast it, yeah.
You know?
Plus your vocals.
Yeah. So he kind of did these amps in that fashion with a master volume, so get the same effect.
Right. So you start playing early age, and at what point do you become, obviously you've got to be like some wonder kid, like you're just tearing it up right away, you just get it right away, or does it take you a long time to get good? Because, I mean, you're only 22 right now. How long you been playing? Like 8 years or something?
Man, since I was little, I was 2 or 3 banging around on something, playing drums and bass and guitar around the house. And when I was about 5 or 6 is when it kind of took hold big time.
5 or 6 on guitar?
Yeah.
The miniature Les Paul?
Yep.
And what songs are you learning? I mean, since you got a cool dad, like when I was learning these terrible songs, like folk songs, like Drunken Sailor and stuff, You're like, I want to learn Back in Black.
Right. Well, that was one for sure. That's a really cool one to learn, And my dad is a guitar instructor too. He teaches. So he's really good with people with short attention spans and kids short attention span.
Yeah.
He was really good at corralling me, and he never pushed me into it, but he knew that I loved it, and that if I didn't have a little motivation, I would lose interest, you know. So he kept me on it, and I was learning at that point a lot of like the first 3 Skinner records.
Oh man.
You know?
Yeah.
Ed King.
Ed King, dude. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that Skinner stuff, it's so epic when you think about it. It's almost like, you know, that they get like a weird knock on one side of like, oh, Southern rock. And
Yeah.
it's like, man, you can't touch that band. If you look at that Day in the Green footage, man, some of the last shows, dude.
Yeah, stuff was kicking ass.
Yeah, really, it was fire, man. And that live at the Fox and, you know, Gaines and that, the 3 guitars, the way they could just pick stuff out is weird. One's playing a Strat, one's playing an SG, one's playing a Carina Explorer. And they all have their own sound. And then
PV amps.
PV amps, right?
Yeah.
PV amps,
They had
man.
like custom white PV amps.
They look great, man. They had
cool.
a look.
Yeah.
And that's a band, there you go. 3 burning guitar players that you never even think about because the songwriting is so incredible.
Yeah,
You know-
especially all that early stuff, man. It's just, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Poison Whiskey,
Oh, man. I love Don't Mess with the Needle.
Needle and a Spoon.
Oh, Needle and the
Yeah.
Spoon. And Working for MCA is my favorite.
It's a
Just
good
the
one.
way that comes on the live album. All right, let's welcome some very old friends of ours. And
Yeah.
then dump, bum, bum. And it's all clean.
Yeah.
The tones are clean.
Gary Rossington played some killer slide stuff.
Oh, my God, right?
But there's this one song called Coming Home.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was one of the first songs where I heard like real writing in that setting, you know?
Yeah.
Because before that I had heard, you know, a lot of really great writing, but a lot of Allman Brothers stuff.
Yeah.
And I was more guitar focused. And that song, like, I'm coming home. you
Yeah.
know? And it just really grabbed me up. And then I started listening to a lot of songwriters too.
Yeah, like who?
James Taylor was a big one.
Yeah.
Obviously. And the Eagles. I've been on a
Eagles.
huge Eagles kick recently,
Oh, man.
you know?
Did you watch the documentary?
I did.
Once you watch that, you're like, oh, well, these guys are.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a whole time, same with Skinner, the Eagles, where everybody tried to shit on the Eagles. It's all about the Burrito Brothers. Oh, man, the Burrito Brothers are
I
cool.
like the Burrito Brothers.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, people, like, they were so line in the sand. You can't like the Eagles. They're posers. It's like, just because they sold 100 million records, are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
I posted a video of them playing Witchy Woman early on when they're 4-piece.
Yeah.
Man.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On my, did you see it on mine, or you just happened to
On
see
your
it?
Instagram. I think
Oh
I
my
liked it.
God, dude, that shit is crazy.
It's so good, man.
It's so good, man.
And they came from playing with Linda Ronstadt,
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
like here.
Just troubadour pickup band, you know.
And that's so cool to me that's how it came together. And it's just really, I think people that shit on the Eagles are the same people that shit on Steely Dan.
Yeah, oh, I love Steely Dan.
Me too.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Dan.
You know, I mean, how can you shit on people that are just like
It's just
legends?
Some people just like, which I get, you know, they like a little dirt. And
Yeah.
Fagan and Brecker were really,
But there's
Yeah,
plenty of
precise.
that out there.
but yeah.
There's plenty of that. It's like when, like I say to people, like, you know, growing up. I don't know. You grew up in South Carolina. It seems the South. People are a little more open-minded to music in the South. You know, they'll listen to a bunch of different stuff. Where if you grew up in a city, people are like, I only like metal.
Right.
And you're like, what are you talking about? You know, like, you don't like Prince? No, man. That dumb shirt he wears and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, almost homophobic in a way.
A little bit,
Over
yeah.
styles of music.
Right. Me and Chris Robinson were talking about Prince recently. He said, because he loved Prince as a kid,
Yeah.
and he'd have like the Prince poster.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad were worried.
Yeah.
You know?
So
Right.
you start playing and what, do you get a band together like right away, or are you just kind of playing like at school or like sitting in with people? How does it really start taking off?
Well, at school, man, I was real closed off from everybody. I didn't really talk to anybody.
Were you a nerd, or you just like?
No, I wasn't a nerd. I just, it wasn't doing it for me. I mean, I wasn't like a dumb kid or anything. I did my work and, you know,
I hated school.
C and B average, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, just the least I could do to get by. And I hate that. I wish I could have been a better student, but nothing was really grabbing me to motivate me to do the boring part because there was no reward system in place, I think.
Yeah.
And I just felt so trapped there and just wanted to get on the road. And then later, my 10th grade and 11th grade year, I started doing this jazz program in the next town over.
Yeah.
And that, you know.
Jazz guitar?
Yeah, jazz theory and jazz performance.
Wow.
With Steve Watson. And he lived out here forever. He played with like the Brecker Brothers, and he was on the A-Team session recorders here. And then he moved back home to Greenville, and that's where I learned how to play.
Wow, and
that
had to take your playing somewhere. I mean, because, you know, if you listen to the Allman Brothers, a lot of it is kind of jazzy in the progressions and stuff, you know.
Big time.
I mean, that stuff is not just embedded in straight rock and roll 4/4. You know, it's like, it's some of the most insane things. So once you're in there, are you thinking of playing jazz, or are you just doing it just to play something different?
Man, I got really deep into jazz. It just became part of what I wanted to do, and part of me was gonna like go to college, try to go to Berkeley or Belmont, or I wanted to go to University of North Texas is where I really wanted to go, and just like focus on that. And then the high school I was going to, they were really unsupportive of anything I was trying to do, and they were always trying to kick me out and put me in juvenile hall just for like missing a day or two. I was not truant, but my sister was, and she dropped out when she was of age. But the way that the school system worked in, you know, Anderson County, whatever, the way that it worked was I was truant by default because they put it on the parent. So it's like both kids must be not going to school, not just one of them.
Wow.
So then they hung that over my head all throughout high school. And if I'd miss one class or one day, and like meanwhile everybody else is skipping 7th period or whatever, but they were on my ass all the time. So
you could actually go to juvenile hall for missing school where you live?
And I wasn't even missing school, man. That's the thing is they were trying to shave my head and put me in jail, and I wasn't even doing anything. So that's why I was like, fuck this, I'm just going to get on the road as soon as possible.
Yeah. So did you drop out?
I did.
Yeah.
And I got my equivalency diploma immediately because I knew I'd put it off forever.
Yeah.
So I just went straight and did that, and then got on the road, and then...
who'd you get on the road with? You're just like...
My band.
With your band. So the guys that you play now, are they the same dudes?
It changed. I was 17 then, so my drummer was with me, and our first bass player that was on the first record, he ended up going back to school and getting married and doing that thing, which is great. We're still good friends.
How do you get on the road when you're virtually unknown? Because I played music 25 years. It's tough. Like, you're, all right, we're going to play some bars, and then you just keep building it up. All right, we're going to play these bars again and add another one to it. Or what was happening? It
was a lot of regional touring, you know, a lot more time home than now, definitely.
Who was setting that up?
Me.
You.
I was hustling, man. I think at one point I had an alias that I went under in the emails.
Yeah.
So people didn't think I was booking us. But I was moving, man. And I had like early on when I was still in school, that's when I developed that mentality, was working with like wedding bands and working with all the hip players in Greenville, South Carolina, and playing with older musicians. They just taught me how to stay booked.
Yeah.
So I had a band of like 40-year-olds.
Yeah.
And backing me up. So.
And you're what, like 17?
I was like 15, 14 or 15. And you know, I had to keep those guys working because they had families.
Oh wow.
You know, so
that's hilarious.
So I was booking the bands.
You're the bread and butter.
Yeah.
The kid.
I got kicked out of some clubs just I heard this more than anything. It was like, we don't need a cocky ass 16-year-old causing shit in our bar. Kick me out just because I was trying to get the money.
Oh yeah,
because that was some scary stuff. Was like, I didn't really have any muscle with me at the end of the night, and I was just like 16.
Yeah.
And if they said it was $400 and they want to give us $300, it's not anything I could do.
Yeah, right. They're like, here you go. That's what it is.
Yep.
And were you like, you guys are just out touring in a van?
I think when we first really got on the road, it was a Suburban and a trailer. It was a death trap, man. We had an organ in this single axle trailer.
Oh.
And the Suburban with no air brakes on the trailer. And we broke down one time, and the guy said, well, y'all know y'all rolling a death machine, right? We were in Mississippi, I think.
Yeah.
And we said, how's that? They said, if you slam on the brakes, this trailer's going through you and the car.
It just keeps going.
Yeah.
With a B3 back there, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man.
I think we had an A100 at the time. It was even more of a monster.
God, there's nothing worse than the B3. I think it's the most vital sound in a band.
Yeah.
But it's also at the end of the night, you're like, man, fuck this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the guy that plays it, he can always magically disappear when it's time to load it up. You ever notice that one?
I have. But that's the way and when I met my drummer when I was 17, I walked into a bar and heard him playing. I was just like, that's the guy. And he was closer to my age. And that kind of made more sense as the band developed. It was cats my age that were like, we're ready to go really on the road.
Yeah.
Because everybody else...
No strings attached.
Everybody else was like, well, I got to get back to my family. I can't go out for more than 5 or 6 days. You know?
Yeah.
So when I found him, he had the same mentality as me, which was like, we got to have a Hammond on that stage. And everybody we meet plays keyboards. So let's buy a Hammond. So we went in and got a Hammond and...
Oh, so you guys bought one and then found a player?
Yeah.
Wow.
At that time, it was an M3 organ. And we had a really good friend of ours, Bill Hahn, that was just... He funded our first record. He's just a friend of the family and just wanted to help us out.
Wow, that's
so
cool.
He bought us that organ for $250.
Wow.
From Robert Jones Pianos and Organs.
That's awesome. I knew a B3 player. He didn't have money for a B3, so a weed smuggler said, you drive this weed across country. I'll get you the B3, and he did it.
That's awesome.
Like 100 pounds in a ride. Went across country with it. Got a B3, man.
That's the way to do it.
Can you imagine sweating bullets the whole time?
Could you imagine having to do another run to get your Leslie?
Oh, yeah, right. I'd be like, oh, man, we'll make a Leslie.
Right.
So did you do a demo? Is that how you were getting the gigs? Were you playing covers and originals? What were you doing out there early on the road?
That early stuff I was writing, was not the greatest, but, you got to grow. And I was still singing. I mean, I had made some demos when I was like 13, 14, and 15. And then YouTube came along, and I was learning how to put together press kits for us and just sending them out everywhere as far as I could go. I remember being like 16, sending a press kit to the Belly Up.
Yeah.
In
San Diego?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm playing there on this tour.
Oh, wow.
But I remember they actually got back to me and said, no.
No.
They said, well.
At least they got back to you.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird just sending blind demos? Like, think about that business right now. There's no way that would even fly. So you're just working at a club, like the Belly Up that's hot. Hey, here's a demo. Hey, we're coming through town. I was like, yeah, so what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's such a weird dynamic now. But that's how you did it. You sent demos out. They'd call you and go, hey, we got a Tuesday. You can open up for whatever,
I was taking anything, man.
Yeah.
And as long as we had gas money, everywhere I could be, I was there, and I still keep that mentality. It's like,
I'm the same way with comedy and music. It was just like, I want to play every day. Mm-hmm. And if you got any guys in the group that don't want to, you got to replace them.
Yeah.
Or
and
else
it was like a real tenacity that my drummer shares with me, too. It's really helpful to have other people that feel that same way. Like if I have a day off, and I see that like Derek and Susan were up at the Beacon. I had a day off, so I was like, I'm coming up there.
Yeah.
And we jam. You know, I just like to stay moving. And younger, it was really like that.
Yeah.
Trying to
younger.
Get on every,
I love it. You're all 22.
jam.
Younger, man. Back in those old days of 17, 18.
Yeah, back in the day.
How do you hook up with Warren? I mean, Warren is one of the most insane players I've ever seen. I really think that he saved the Allman Brothers when he came in. He had that Soul Shine song, and it became a different type of band, those live set records, you know, and the guy was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it just, I mean, that guy's beyond me. But how do you hook up with him? At what point in your career does he see you or hear about you? YouTube?
This was right after we did that first record in San Diego. We actually cut it. And we came back from doing that, and then we were shopping that around. That's what we were using for our demos. And I was writing with some people up in Asheville, North Carolina, and that's where Warren's from, which is only like an hour from me. So I was up there like 2 or 3 times a week gigging and writing.
You're writing with some outside writers?
Yeah, I was writing with a friend of mine, Rocky Lindsley, and he wrote that on the last record, Guitar in My Hands. He wrote he wrote a verse on that. Great guy, and it turns out he grew up with Warren. I didn't know that, but they just kept saying, "Man, we got to get your stuff to our buddy Warren." I didn't know they were talking about Warren Haynes.
Yeah. And you're an Allman Brothers fan.
Yeah, and it never clicked.
Yeah.
All these things, it just never clicked to me. And then they were like, man, our buddy Warren really wants to, get together.
Yeah.
So they took me down to Athens, Georgia, and I sat in with him and wore a big fake beard.
You did?
Because we did a ZZ Top tune.
Yeah, which one? Just Got Paid or something?
Yeah, Jesus Just Left Chicago. So we did that thing, and everybody wore big fake beards, and nobody knew who I was.
Yeah.
Because I had this big disguise on, and then I left, and then it just grew from there. A really great friendship and mentorship, and then he produced that record. And
did he take you on the road? Open up?
We did a few dates together.
Government Mule, yeah. You play the Red Rocks yet?
I have, yeah. We played.
You bastard.
Yeah. We played there with Mule last year.
What a venue, right?
Yep. It's incredible, man.
It really is, man. This last record, it's so funny. It was number 2 on the Billboard Blues charts. It's funny that it would have to be placed as blues to me because I get it. At least you get some kind of traction. Yeah. But it's not blues at all. It's just like rock and roll. Same as if you looked at St. Paul, they're not, gospel R&B. They're just a, rock and roll band.
A soul group, man.
Yeah.
And we've always had a hard time with that as far as categorizing our material. 'Cause it's kind of a mixed bag of stuff. But I think this next record, we're just going to say Americana.
Yeah.
Because, Isbell just did the Americana thing, did the hell out of it, and he's a great guitar player and a great writer.
Yep.
And they rock.
Yeah.
400 unit.
Same with Black Crowes. They wouldn't be called, like, if they were out now, they wouldn't be called blues.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I mean, Southern Harmony record, like a lot of your stuff, it has kind of the song writing flavor of that kind of stuff, Mm-hmm. So it's a bummer, blues, but, because then if a dumb radio station's like, oh, it's a blues band, we don't really play blues or what. It's so dumb, It's just like, hey, is it a good song? Yeah, it's a great song. Put it on,
Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as it should be, but it's all convoluted, and then you get pigeonholed into this blues category, and then people see that we're number 2 on the blues thing, and then they hire us to play.
Yeah,
I remember
like the Blues Fest.
Yeah,
all that
Chesapeake
shit.
Bay Blues Festival, where they have like Kenny Wayne and them. We went and played that, and we closed the set with War Pigs.
Yeah, rad.
Because they were all in lawn chairs, and I was like, it's 100 degrees, fucking War Pigs, let's go.
Yeah.
So we played that, and we have our horns play it, and it's
Oh, sick.
You know, I love hearing the horns on it. So then we got done, and this old guy was standing by the stage while we were taking our gear off, and he was like, "War Pigs at a blues festival, huh?" You know, so then people are like, they don't dig us at the blues festival, but we're a blues band, quote unquote.
Yeah, I hate that. There's nothing worse than getting boxed in, you know? You ever hear Cake's version of War Pigs?
No.
Whoa. It's fucking fire.
Man, you know, I may have. I probably have.
It's one of the greatest.
I like Cake.
Because it's just like straight. It's almost dance, but rock at the same time. It's got this crazy groove, you know?
That's a really great band.
Yeah. Oh, right?
Hearing the trumpet in that group is what made me like, I need a trumpet player.
How many pieces is the band? 10?
6.
6.
Yeah.
So it's like pricey out on the road, right?
Yeah, that's the thing I always heard coming up. I was like, I want a horn section, an organ player. So you can't travel with an organ unless you have a trailer.
Yeah.
So we had to get a trailer. So everybody was like, I'll tell you what you do. You fire everybody else, keep that bass player and drummer, and just go be a trio.
Oh, the worst, though.
I was like, I like a good trio, but it's been done a lot, and I want a horn section.
And that's what's great about your band. It's the sound. You know, it's not like, here comes the guitar burner with the 3-piece. We know what that is.
It's just kind of a, you know, all nights. It's hard to keep that up and keep it interesting.
Yeah,
it's just,
it is.
And especially if you're just singing and playing guitar. You know, I like having the horns cut loose, and we do more of like a more jazz influenced tune, which we have to always sneak that one in, like in between two like rock songs. It's funny trying to weave in and out of the set, sneak the jazz stuff in. But that's what I always got told was it's not going to be lucrative.
Yeah.
And that's what I told them. I said, we're not going to make any money.
Yeah.
For a while.
For a while, right? But,
so,
you know,
like,
all those bands, when you look at them, they remind me of comedians early on that are now making big, big money. Yeah. Like if you look at anything from the jam kind of scene, you know, which now are all making fortunes, right. You know, because they did what they loved. And just like, we're starving out here. But eventually people are like, God, I need some real music out here, you know? And it starts to gather and grow and get huge.
I've always seen the connection between comedians and musicians. And then I was always really big into, like, the fact that a comedian could go out and, like, open up for a rock band in the 70s. Yeah. And people would really dig it. Yeah. It was great. Like, Robert Klein, that's my shit.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't really happen as much now. And I'd like to...
I would do it with you guys.
We should do it, man.
I would do it in a minute. I did it with Alice in Chains last year for 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
Yeah, theaters. It was crazy. You know?
I just think it's
such a hard dynamic, but cool to be with a band that you love. And also because you can riff on stuff happening on the road. And true music fans, which is great with you guys, get some of the stuff I'm talking about.
Oh, right.
You know, like when people say there's no good music anymore, I always say that person's probably from the 80s. You know, because the 80s are like Vietnam. Some people didn't make it out. You know what I mean? They're just walking around in leather pants at a grocery store like, Van Halen. There ain't no good music anymore. You know?
Leather pants at Ralph's.
Yeah. It's true. You see those guys. They're like tumbleweeds.
I have.
Hair metal tumbleweeds blowing around Hollywood like, what happened? You know, they're like the dude Jim on Taxi. What happened?
Yeah. Right.
You like comedy? Who are your guys?
You know, I really like another Greenville, South Carolina guy, Rory Scovel.
Oh, he's a great friend of mine. I was with him last night, dude.
Yeah.
I was with him last night.
Really?
I can't even believe that you just said that. Yeah, we're friends, man.
His shit's really been cracking.
How funny is that fucking guy?
He's great.
Yeah. Outside the box kind of shit.
Yeah.
Who else?
I mentioned Robert Klein. Seinfeld's a big one.
Great.
Who else do I listen to? Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, all that stuff.
You guys watch comedy on the bus? Or you're with Chris on this.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of comedy when I get off the gig or podcasts even, just because sometimes your ears just need to.
It's great. Podcasts are great, right?
Yeah,
it
they
just
are.
burns up the miles, man.
Mm-hmm.
You into the Mother Hips at all?
No, I haven't heard that.
Oh, man, I got to hip you to that. Great band. 30 years together. Rick Rubin signed them back in the day. Chris was going to produce their record early on, like 25 years ago.
The Mother Hips.
The guitar player plays with Chris in the Greenleaves.
Oh, the Greenleaf Rustlers.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
on.
So you went and recorded the new record and in Nashville. How many songs?
In Nashville, I think we did, because 3 of them were from our sessions in Memphis,
Oh.
and that was a great experience. Eric Krasno produced those tracks, and we did it at Royal Studios. Sang on Al Green's mic. It was an insane
Wow.
experience,
Wow.
And so we have 3 songs from there, and I want to say like 9 songs. 9 songs that we did in Nashville with Dave. And I wrote one of those songs with Pat McLaughlin and Dan Auerbach
Oh, wow.
in Nashville.
Wow. So do you have outside writers on all your stuff?
Man, no, not normally.
Right.
Because all my writing is generally just stuff that I really feel, and it's just a way for me to express.
Like on the last record, were there outside writers, or you wrote all the last record?
I wrote everything on that last record except for that guitar in my hands.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine that contributed a verse to that
Right,
song.
you tell me that, yeah.
And normally I don't like to write with other people, but, Dan Auerbach is just a really solid dude and invited me to come up and write. And we wrote a song that, I really dug, so I ended up putting it on the record.
Oh, that's cool. And you guys are on Fantasy Records?
Yes, sir.
Is that out of Berkeley, those guys?
It's out of here in L.A.
Oh, but is it the old school one, like Fantasy Records? Like, is that the one, the Creedence and all that back in the
Yeah,
day?
it sure is, yeah.
What's that guy's name? Salzant or whatever?
I don't know.
That's the guy that used to battle Fogerty.
Yeah.
They had the lawsuit for years.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I remember.
that's
I
wild.
remember seeing that. It is the same Fantasy. They are under the umbrella of Concord Music Group, so there's a few different labels there, which is great for us because we've got a lot of label mates that are either on like, Concord Records or like Rounder Records or Fantasy. So we've got like Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats, who we love over there.
Oh, yeah.
And like Derek and Susan are on there, Government Mule. So we've got a lot of really cool label mates, the Revivalists.
That's cool. Is it a blues label or is it just a record label?
It's just a record label, man. That's
Yeah.
what was really appealing to me, was they didn't.
Because your last one came out, on Warren's label?
Yeah, Evil Teen.
Right.
We put that out. It actually got re-released on Fantasy,
Oh, cool.
but actually, no, it did not. It
Yeah.
was on Evil Teen. You're right.
You got is it out on vinyl?
Yeah.
Wow.
We put everything out on vinyl.
You a vinyl guy?
Yeah. My drummer is much more of a vinyl guy.
I'm a vinyl freak.
So,
I just love it.
So
Except
I
for
don't-
carrying it.
yeah, that's
That
why
shit
I don't
sucks.
even buy it on the road anymore.
No, me either.
Yeah.
I will if they'll send it. I'll go in and go, hey, I like this. Will you ship it to my house?
I haven't even heard. I haven't even thought of that.
Yeah, and then if they say yeah, I go, I'll take it all. If not, I can't stand carrying it. You guys sell a lot of merch on the road? Is that where the money is now? Merch and records?
Well,
Or-
it's just strange, because you build yourself up, or you dig yourself kind of a hole. So the merchandise kind of pays for other bills that we have.
Yeah. Gas, hotels.
Yeah,
You're just moving one money to the other.
pretty much.
Yeah.
We're just staying on the road and letting the guarantees kind of rise.
Yeah.
And just growing as a band has really been good for that too.
You guys going out on tour this summer after this Chris thing?
Yeah, I got 4 days at home and then I'm back out.
Wow.
Yeah.
And where are you going? Are you headlining all over or festivals or what?
Well, yeah, we're doing this, finishing up the spring. We're going to be going through Virginia and Ohio and Michigan and then we'll be home for a few days, and then we'll go back overseas. And we're going to do a headlining European thing.
Wow.
For the spring. And then we come back, got about a week and a half off. I'm going to shut the phone off. Me and my lady are going to go somewhere to be determined, and just, I'm going to decompress. I've been out on the road for like 3 months right now. And I love it, don't get me wrong, but sometimes you got to shut it off.
It's true, man.
And then we're on tour with the Tedeschi Trucks all summer, and we just announced our first headlining North American tour.
Oh, wow.
And that'll be starting up in like July, right after the Tedeschi Trucks tour.
Man, you and Trucks tore it up on that last record, man.
Man, it was a blessing to have him on there,
Wow. Like, did he come in and did you guys track that live, or was he just tracking over the track already there?
Yeah, we sent it to him in Florida because he's such a nice guy. If he wants to do something, he'll make it happen. And he called us and was like, man, I got to fly to Australia tomorrow, but we're home today.
Yeah.
If you can send me the track tonight, I'll cut it and send it back to you.
Wow, just to send him the stems, and he did it that night?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Him and his engineer, Bobby Tees, went in and just cut it, and they sent it back, and we said, we love it. Have a safe flight.
When you got it back, where you're like, whoa, that guy was killing it.
Yeah. We knew he would.
Yeah, you knew.
I loved the Derek Trucks band, Todd Smalley, Kofi Burbridge. So I had them on the record as well.
Are you a Dead guy at all? Chris is a big Dead guy.
The older I get, the more I become a Dead guy.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was more
I hated him young.
Brothers.
You hate him young?
I didn't hate him. I liked the Dead a lot. It was just, I was kind of following my dad's lead. And I actually was hanging out with Phil Lesh one time and told him my dad hit me up one day. He was like, man, who I've been really getting into lately is the Grateful Dead. I was like, you're 65. I was like, well, why the fuck are you just listening to the Dead?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know, man. I just now getting into it.
That's what happened to me, man. I think you just get old and you got all this all this mean bottled up, and then the Dead comes on, you're like, oh, okay. It's not that bad out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it was just so funny to me.
How do you guys approach the Robinson thing there? You play different songs every night, right?
Well, man, we had different songs in to the set, but early on in the tour, he was like, we're only out here for a month, like the shit that's strong, we try to play, and we just want to put on a good rock and roll show.
Yeah.
And, we play tunes that people want to hear, but we also make requests within the band.
Yeah. What are some of yours? To me, I just go like, all right, let's just do the whole Three Snakes record, the darkest record out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like One Mirror Too Many, Nebuchadnezzar, Under a Mountain.
Shit's great.
Oh, shit is great, man.
Yeah. I tend to request like Sometimes Salvation.
Oh yeah,
and
so great.
Bad Luck Blue Eyes. Those are my kind of requests.
Oh yeah, the cool soulful ballads.
I love playing Halfway to Everywhere.
Oh, that's a great one. That's an Oddly era.
I think it was an Oddly era. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wait, Halfway to that's Three Snakes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great one because they had those great soul background singers and everything. Any background singers in this group, or just you guys?
Just me and Tony and Adam. We all sing background.
And how do you choose the leads? Are you doing the Mark leads, or do you split them with Audley?
Me and Audley kind of splitting them up. I'm doing more like Rich parts.
Oh, really?
Which is even scary as shit, really.
Yeah?
I've
never sat down and broke it down, but I have seen Rich, and you're just kind of like, oh, well, this is like...
It's a big part of the glue of that band.
It's dense.
And when I really started digging into it, I had never played any open tunings. I never used a capo in my life.
Whoa.
Just because I just liked standard, and that's just what I did. And I learned slide everything in standard. And this gig has made me a little more well-rounded, just learning all his parts in open G and like open F.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff.
A lot of that, Taylor, Mick Taylor, Stones era kind of stuff and Faces, all that,
man.
like, Lovin' Cup kind of
Chunky.
shit. Yeah, right?
And I had to learn how to back off the gas and just play chunky chords while Audley's playing. It's really been a great learning experience to be a rhythm guitar player at some points.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Well, I can't thank you enough for talking to me today, man.
Yeah, thanks for
I fell in
coming
love
down.
with the fucking record. I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the best records I've heard in the last couple of years, for
thanks,
sure.
man.
You got some tattoos, man. You're all tatted up.
Yeah.
Like, one guy do them all?
All these on my arms, yeah. This guy in Asheville, North Carolina, good fella. But I'm about to get when I get to Oakland, I'm going to get a crow right there.
A crow?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Seemed fitting.
Yeah, that's rad.
Yeah.
Oakland doing the Fox Theater.
Yeah.
Got
I think if Chris's guy is available, I'm going to get him to put a crow on my body.
Oh, Chris has a buddy that tattoos?
Yeah.
Oh,
It does all his tattoos.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's cool. Remember Greg Allman had some old school
He has
tattoos.
some cool ones.
Yeah.
The one on Dickie Betts' arms are really cool to see because they're just like, what is that?
Yeah, right. And they don't even know.
He's like, I don't know.
I miss Dickie Betts, man. I guess he's out playing a little bit right now or something.
He's coming back. Dickie Betts is coming back.
Have you seen him play recently or anything? I haven't seen him since that. I went to the Allman Brothers. It was supposed to be like the 30-year anniversary, and I always wanted to ask Warren what happened at the San Francisco Fillmore. And then I guess something happened with Dickie on the way to the gig, and when the curtain dropped, it was Trucks and Warren up there and no Dickie.
Oh, man.
Pretty wild. Never saw him again. That was it. That guy's underrated.
Yeah, he is. He really is. Me and Audley Freed were talking about it. He's like, you go pretty much anywhere on a gig, somebody can say, play this like the Dickie Betts kind of thing there.
Yeah.
And just being a template for like that kind of sound. He's an inventive player, really.
Absolutely. And great songwriter, man.
Hell.
He wrote some of the best songs in the Allman Brothers, And
Memory of Elizabeth Reed.
Oh, man. And Blue Sky.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy was a tunesmith, and he was like an outlaw.
Yeah, man. Dickie's like...
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's an outlaw, man.
We all refer to him as an outlaw. Chris had a good story about him. Whenever he'd go see them, it'd be like a cowboy movie. Like when all the doors shut, like Dickie's coming.
Yeah.
And then he'd always end up like in the middle of the hallway, like, oh no. And then come talk to him.
He face to face.
Yeah.
Oh, I got Dickied.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm excited to meet him, but I'm also really scared to meet him.
Yeah.
Because I've met some heroes before that...
That let you down?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there too, right?
No
You're
fun.
just like, oh, bummer.
It's like, oh, what do I do with your records?
What do I do with your records? I've been in the biz so long that when I meet a guy and he's a dick, I'm like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
He's been chewed up in this business all his life,
It's happened to me enough now to where it's not as soul crushing.
Right.
But those first...
Who was the brutal one?
Oh, man. I can't even say it. Can't say it.
I love it.
Next time.
I love it. Next time. Real quick before you go, who are your guitar gods? Your 5 dudes. 3 dudes. Whatever.
I'll say I'm going to put Robin Trower there.
Wow.
I'm going to put Steve Howe there.
Wow.
I'm going to put Jimmy Herring and Dwayne Allman.
Yeah.
And you got to put Hendrix there.
Yeah.
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 That's 5. I could go for a while, but
Did you ever get into? It was always something I thought about with you, like the Eddie Van Halen, phase, or those kind of dudes like Randy Rhoads and that shit.
yeah, a little bit. You
Yeah.
know, a little bit. I started getting into like Danny Gatton and like
Oh, yeah.
pedal steel players. I love playing pedal steel. So like Danny Gatton and Buddy Emmons, that kind of stuff. Brett Mason, you know,
Yeah.
country pickers.
Country pickers.
And then hearing, like, you mentioned Randy Rhoads,
Yep.
who I think was a phenomenal guitar player. I got into his stuff, too.
Yeah. All right, man. Looking forward to seeing that. I can't wait to see your band. I was really hoping you were playing tonight, but
We'll be back in May.
yeah,
at
May
the
what?
Troubadour.
May what? Oh, May. In a couple weeks, you mean?
Oh, shit. Sorry, it's September.
Oh, I was like, what? Yeah. September, Troubadour. Oh, I'll be there.
Yeah,
I'm there,
excited
man.
about that.
And will the record be out by then?
I'm hoping. I think it may be coming out right after that, but
Yeah, 'cause
ideally it'll be out.
It'd be
by
great
the
to have you back on the show and talk about the record.
time.
You know?
I'd love to.
That'd be great. And so September, Troubadour, I'll be there. And if I see you floating around, because I'm on tour too, and
Yep.
I happen to cross paths, it's always magical that
Yeah,
way.
I love
Come
that.
see her. You can come see some comedy.
Yeah, man.
We'll get this comedy rock tour going.
We got to do it.
I'm telling you.
That would
I'm
be
not
fun.
afraid, dude.
Yeah,
It'd be great.
that would be fun.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, thanks again. Tell everybody where to find you. It's Marcus King Band for Instagram, right?
Yeah.
And Twitter. You got a Twitter?
We got a Twitter. We got a Facebook.
Yep.
All that stuff.
Records are on iTunes. Get these records, man. They're phenomenal, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tonight. How many songs you guys playing tonight?
About 12 or 14, something like that.
Wow. But like 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
gonna fill up.
I watched the Wiser Time.
Yeah.
That's a 24-minute jam there.
Yeah.
I watched it on YouTube. Interesting how you guys do it. You actually, each guy just goes full solo. It's almost like a band showcase thing.
Yeah. That's part of the show that we try to do every night.
Yeah.
Because that song is so fucking
Song's
good.
a masterpiece.
You know? And I like sing. I get to sing a little bit on that one. And like you said, each guy showcased a little bit. It's a fun part of the show.
I always felt if Black Crows were still together right now, they would have just slid right into the slot of the Allman Brothers and take over that whole world. You know, the Allman Brothers are gone.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm a firm believer it'll happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm one of those guys. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, I'm right there with you, brother.
Yep. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. And don't forget to check them out on tour and check out the records. See you guys. Candles lit.